Paradox games. The thing that took away every single Slavic boy's hope of a good childhood. The game that the bad bitch with a transgender communist flag plays all day. The war crime denial booty jiggling €500 DLC map painter. This is the boys' version of The Sims.
Come on, man, what the fuck is you doing, cuz?
These are the most transparently Skinner-boxed games I've had the displeasure of playing, and it could be argued the company that makes them employs gulags on a way worse scale than EA and Riot Games combined. If Paradox Interactive is ever so slightly associated with a game you like, even if they're not developers, they'll grow a tumor and then, oh shit, oh yes, Paradox-sama, I will shit out DLCs, please stop whipping me, oh no, please, this time it's gonna be different. I'm telling you, if you see Paradox, grab a TNT block in-game. So yeah, I'm gonna be looking at all their main games and telling you how they make you feel like a big dick general from experience.
Ugh, if only Hitler won World War II, what could have been? All the cocks and Albanians bullying me would cease to exist.
Now how could he do that?
Psst, psst. Hey kid, I got just the perfect stuff for you.
Hearts of Iron 4, the most popular Paracucks game. This game isn't a game. It's a fucking visual novel. 90% of mods just want to make it even more of a visual novel, where the main plot is about genocide. Shit, at that point just play Final Fantasy. Shit's way more cash. So joeyy 4 introduces itself as a World War II war game. But you know what else it got? Yeah, it has a lot of dumb shit. There are a couple of things that are consistent across every Paradox game. I call this the Holy Paradox Trinity. 1. The AI is kept deliberately dumb by the developers, but it still does its best to cheat and produce arthritis out of you. The AI in joeyy 4 is very happy to grind itself to 4 million casualties while you sit at 100k, and it makes everything worse even when you're allied to them. If you're friendly with them, God forbid you, they will shuffle 200 divisions to your front and attrition you to death. 2. The DLC, over time, power creeps the fuck out of the game, adds content bloat, meaningless numbers, and cookie clicker mechanics, and makes the AI even dumber than it is. Yeah, this is largely true in joeyy 4, only the power creep is actually the reverse. Paradox thinks giving you 1070-day visual novel focuses that give you like one factory and remove debuffs is fun. They also tend to add clicky minigames that cuck you if you don't engage with them. Hell, in one of the latest DLCs, they literally added the move the fucking bus minigame. I'm not shitting you. Most mechanics added in DLCs are superfluous. You have naval, air, and tank designers, but they are pretty much useless because they are meta designs, so it's just producing equipment but with extra steps. The worst shit are the spy agencies, which require you to click on something every 30 in-game days, adding much more tedious micromanagement for like almost fucking nothing. 3. The multiplayer is fucking ass. I've had the very sad experience of playing over 2,000 hours of joeyy 4 multiplayer. It is probably the most insane online experience I've ever had. I quickly go over how I was tortured step by step. So, you join a multiplayer lobby looking for some action. You're asked to join Discord by the host. Now this is where the autism begins. You're about to enter.
Vetting.
Start sweating and pull up your Excel answer sheets, because the host or a friend of his is about to ask you if you know how to be a pro joeyy 4 MLG gamer. Answer anything not to the host's liking, and it's very likely you'll be relegated to one of the fuckboy nations, or worse, kicked. Also, yeah, competitive for games have like 10 pages of rules that go like, you will get banned if you're too good at fence because you'll kill the game 3 hours in instead of 6 hours in.
I don't care, man. Personally, I do not.
After you got that done, get ready. This is where the true Hoi 4 experience begins. A typical multiplayer lobby needs around 14 to 20 players to start a game, so get ready to wait, and wait, and wait. A lot. This game also has myriads of technical issues, which can lead to lobbies being unavailable to other players, which leads to more rehosting, more people quitting over the waiting period, more waiting simulator, more FUCK YOU! So, you got enough players to start a game, get ready to restart Hoi 4, because you're gonna need a multiplayer mod. Yeah, this game is so shit, you need mods to have a semblance of a good experience. Okay, so, game's up, 1936, now. Get ready for 2 hours of intense menu clicking until 1939, you bitch. You will build the civilian factory and you will trade back. The win condition in Hoi 4 is not physically winning World War II or reaching 1945, but demoralizing the leaders of the enemy team into giving up through psyops and rule lawyering. As you can probably tell, it doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun. Honestly, when I played it, the game really wasn't that fulfilling. But what was fulfilling was coordinating with up to 10 people on very specific off-script strategies, thinking out all the possibilities, and catching people by surprise. But stuff like that hasn't really been a thing for a long time, since the metagame kinda like rigidified. Ultimately, for me, Hoi 4 was a social game where abusing modifiers was the way of communicating with people. The community also used to be rather peculiar. This was one of the few games where you could see a neo-Nazi have calm chats and banter with gay furry communists and other exquisite creatures. Unless you're like one of the loner nations like Japan or the USSR, you are stuck with whatever you got for up to 6 hours, so you better appreciate your local Eastern European talent who is saying enough N-words to ban all of Twitch's just chatting section. So yeah, in general, Hoi 4 is a bad game, both single player and multiplayer wise. It has too many superfluous cookie clicking mechanics, brain dead AI. It can't even simulate the historical World War II, let alone all the LARP alt-hist scenarios. Combat is also rather unbalanced, and this is not even from a min-max perspective. All you need for single player is infantry with anti-air and artillery until the AI kills itself, and then you can just
How am I out pushing 4 people?
Whoa, sir! You got a big dick, sir! I love big dicks, sir! Thank you, sir!
fuck about tanks or planes or any of that gay shit that wasn't like World War II. This is Paradox's other big map painting game. It plays very much like a board game, in that stuff is abstracted into 3 mana points, and the whole game is built around using them efficiently. This game is about genociding natives in America and Africa,
Hey, what you say, nigga?
and building empires through the 15th century to Napoleon's death. One thing that's immediately noticeable about U4 is that the quality of life is awful. Every other 5 seconds, you'll get message pop-ups about how your bitch went to the field, or how the Pope got some cash, and it gets tiring really fucking fast. Thankfully, you can turn these off, but it takes a while to figure out which ones are useful and which ones are not. The passage of time isn't really noticeable in this game. There are very few mechanical evolutions outside of stuff like sieges being faster and the map being painted in European colors. Stuff like colonization happens way too fast as well, with Europe owning most of America by the 16th century. And then there's absolute retarded shit, like huge standing armies of 250,000 around that time as well. Most games end before the 17th century because the player is too powerful, the AI is too cumbersome to battle, or because the game performance just shits the bed mid-game. U4 passes the holy paradox trinity with flying colors. The AI in this game is bipolar. They're lobotomized, but they love to annoy you as much as they can. In combat, the AI loves to move to a different tile as soon as you right click their location, even if they can't see where your army is, forcing you to right click where they're going, but then they move to a different tile, then you right click where they're going, then they move to a different tile. While they're purposely retarded around combat and nation building, since most players play on easy, they love to form huge alliance hug boxes that just make warfare frustrating, so you need to siege half a continent just to get what you want. The DLC in this game is a bit of a relic of old Paradox. You see, U4 was one of their transitory games to their new DLC model, where they shit out gorillion small DLCs, and it releases a rather bland, featureless game with tons of quality of life issues, which is slightly less pronounced on their newer releases. As a result, lots of the early DLC are just adding basic features that sum themselves up through one button and don't have much depth, like marrying a ruler of a country to boost relations, adding an auto-exploration button, pirating other nations' trade, etc. Standalone, they're obviously scams, but together they actually started to form a semi-playable game. Along the way, DLCs started to be more featureful. They started to add more mechanics, but the bloat was already starting to take its toll and making the game into a bit of a min-max fest with numbers everywhere. This all culminated with the late DLCs that started to add LARP visual novel paths to individual nations that made them incredibly broken and overpowered, and added some kind of nation unique mechanic that just makes them basically even more broken. And every DLC since then is expanded on this concept, power creeping the game to heights never seen before. A lot of DLCs released broken too, corrupting saves or just straight out introducing crashes and performance issues, but that's par for the course with Paradox. Yeah, as a result of this, they added a literal subscription service for their games. Now you can truly own nothing and be happy. Oh, and the multiplayer, it's ass. It's the same thing as single player where most games end before the 17th century, only it's spread across multiple hour-long sessions where half the players quit in the first one. It also has a retarded amount of RNG fucking you over.
All that happens in my country is me take negative stability fucking goddamn events! Why are those a thing? Why is something so vital to the survivment of your country at this point randomized?
Overall, U4, while very gamey, unrealistic, and unbalanced, is honestly more fun than Hoi 4, owing to the more open-ended nature of it, and slightly more challenging if fucking cancerous AI. It just starts to get really formulaic when you understand how to beat it, which is really easy. And don't play this game without DLC, by the way.
Holy fucking shit. I love God.
This is the only good Paradox game. It does fulfill the holy Paradox trinity, but honestly,
oh my god, who the hell cares?
Go watch Set's review and don't play CK3, that shit sucks. CK2 isn't a game focused on map painting per se, it's more of an RPG. When released, it was very bare bones and didn't even allow you to play Muslims.
But all
the DLCs, it's a pretty fun game with lots of wacky shit.
Blood of great men flows through me.
This game is about genociding natives in Africa. Only it's set in 1836 through 1936, in the age of industrialization, realpolitik, and ideologies. This game is unique in that it acts more like a simulation. Your country has population numbers, literacy rate, pie charts showing you ideology, religion, ethnicity, immigration, blah blah blah. Basically, it's a fucking Excel spreadsheet, and you're going to like it if you're an autist. Everything revolves around pops. Your toy soldiers, slave workers, and politics.
Wow! Shit-colored niggers are awesome.
The game tries to model industrialization and simulate the economy, and accomplishes it somewhat. You have real capitalism, where the government, aka the player, can't intervene in the economy, and you're left to the whims of the AI, which usually crashes your economy.
Dump it.
But eventually gets something going through trial and error, and varying degrees of interventionism until you reach a full Soviet-style command economy, where you micromanage everything. All of that is dependent on which ideology comes to power, which is dependent on elections if you're a democracy, which is dependent on your pop's ideological leanings. You can only sort of impact what they want by choosing correct events, keeping people poor or rich, or affecting their militancy and consciousness values. Overall, the simulation is pretty cool, albeit underbaked and kinda broken. If we're talking from a min-max perspective, there's like little to no reasons to not just fully invest in military goods and ignore consumer goods other than lip service here and there. A lot of times there's often a Great Depression in the late game, because the buggy economy results in gold miners and capitalists hoarding all the money in the bank. While unintended, it's pretty fucking funny. Also, if China ever westernizes, they will fucking crash the world economy, which is hilarious. One of the most exciting aspects of the game is how warfare evolves. Early game, you have U4-like stacks, where you just grab a few boys and dead stack them in mobile engagements. Over time, it steadily reaches massive proportions, and it starts to become a World War I recreation, with massive casualties for little ground taken. Then you unlock tanks and planes, which are very expensive, but can help you break the gridlock. Unfortunately, this game is very clunky, unbalanced, and is lacking lots of quality of life. There is lots of clicking and manual organization that could be easily automated done in this game. Also, this is kinda nitpicky, but USA is just hard-coded to get more immigrants. Oh yeah, and it also has a cool and period-appropriate soundtrack, featuring classical and whatnot. All the other games have shit like fucking Sabaton, blasting your ears with the Wikipedia reference lyrics. At that point, just blast some Skrillex or some emo shit. Overall, Victoria 2 is a very clunky and unfinished game with some interesting concepts that could have been expanded and rebalanced in a sequel. But it was very unlikely it would have ever turned out good.
Start from the beginning.
A lot of people say that Paradox used to be good, and it's only their newer games and DLC policy that led them astray. Honestly, they've always been shit. It's just that before, they were a small indie company with skeleton games that fed the imagination through some cool concepts buried in the mountains of shit, with some passionate developers, such as Johan, that you could easily chat with on the Paradox forums. That and not having mountains of DLC, although the few DLC they did have were pretty mandatory to making the games functional, since most of them had horrible releases. Some things never change. It's not that these games are old, therefore bad. Shit, I love legally adult games that can drink and drive. I can withstand the clunk and the skunk and still come out with a positive impression. But old Paradox ain't it. Ironically, the best old Paradox game isn't even fucking developed by them. It's Darkest Hour Hoi 2, a moth turned into a standalone game and licensed out by Paradox. Nearly all Paradox YouTubers are paid shills. either directly through sponsored videos or indirectly through preferential treatment like beta access, free games, etc. Only a few people like Spuggun, who don't get fanfare from Paradox, are honest. Also, while these games are clearly not built for multiplayer, and they amount to actual collective BDSM simulators, you still have rather sizable communities around them. Shame the DLCs and burnout from the crazy time investment required kill those over time. And cheating too. These games don't even have VAC, you can just pull up cheat engine and ruin games. I spent a lot of time with these games as a teen, and while I've been overly negative around them in this video, I don't really regret the amount of time I spent with them. I've met a lot of people, broadened my general perception of history and culture, despite Paradox's portrayal of history being fucking awful, and helped me kill a lot of hours when I was down bad and depressed. But fuck, dude, it's just so sad looking at these games. They had a lot of potential, especially Evic 2, but the model they're developed under pretty much guarantees they'll never be good. Paradox pretty much has a monopoly on the map painting genre, and their tentacles are extending to other niche genres like Western RPGs and city builders. First, they came from map painting games. I did not care, for I was not a map painter. Then, they came for city builders. I did not care, for I was... Yeah, thanks for listening to my opinion. Bye.
Man, if you give up, that's when you fucked up. Get your fucking racks up.